Both the Conservatives and the New Democratic Party are voicing common concerns over the Liberals' attempt to expand the MAiD program to the mentally ill. And Mark Carney's Liberals are also still trying to pass a bill that would allow them to get user information from companies like Apple without any evidence of a crime. In this video, we got a couple important stories today. So I think you're going to want to stick around if you care about Canada and how this country works. The first story of the day is that Mark Carney's Liberals are still trying to expand MAiD to the mentally ill. But first, what is MAiD? MAiD, or Medical Assistance in Dying, in layman's terms, is when somebody, usually due to health reasons, requests pills or medications to end their lives. Justin Trudeau first introduced the program in 2016 through Bill C-14 on June 17th, 2016. Under this bill, the only people who could request MAiD were people who knew that they had a terminal illness, they knew that their life was going to come to an end anyway, and they more or less wanted to just get it done and over with, on their terms, I suppose. In 2021, the Trudeau government passed Bill C-7, which removed that limitation and expanded it to people who maybe had a very painful or other kind of serious illness, but didn't know for sure that it would end their life. And they set up what they call the 2-track system, where if you did know that your life was coming to an end, then it'd be a very short process to get accepted into the program. And if you didn't, then it would be at least 90 days before acceptance into the program. And in 2023, the Trudeau government again tried to expand it to anyone that had not just a physical ailment, but a mental one as well. But this got significant pushback for many obvious reasons. First of all, not least of all, is just how vague it is, and where you're crossing the line and basically just allowing people to commit suicide. So it got significant pushback and was postponed to March 17th, I believe, of 2024. But then once that date rolled around, it still faced pushback from both the political opposition as well as like social opposition. And it got finally postponed to March 17th of 2027, I believe. It feels weird talking about this. And saying words like accepted into the program when we really just mean we're allowing you to we're giving you a way to kill yourself. It feels really weird talking about this, and it also feels weird that I even need to say that we should be finding ways to help people live their lives instead of giving them avenues to end it. Michael Cooper, a Conservative MP who's a part of the committee putting together a report on MAiD, specifically with regards to its expansion for people with mental illnesses, said this to reporters recently. I think the evidence is very clear that the expansion for MAiD to end mental illness cannot go forward. He said that there were two fundamental issues. First of all, being the challenge in diagnosing these mental illnesses, which again goes back to it being all very vague. And also determining whether those requesting MAiD are in their right mind. I mean, if it's a mental illness, almost nobody who has a mental illness is going to be in their right mind. So how do you even get them to make a consensual decision on that if they're not in their right state of mind?
To Dr. Gupta, you said we're ready with respect to MAiD and mental illness. I would submit that's tough to accept given what we've heard in the previous hour, in which we've heard there's no consensus amongst psychiatrists. Only 2% of psychiatrists have signed up for the curriculum program, and there aren't enough resources. But you say we're ready, really. Well, I would submit the heart of the issue, however, is the question of irremediability. Whether someone can get better and whether that can be accurately predicted. Now, as you will recall, at page 40 of the expert report that was issued, that you chaired, it states, quote, "There is limited knowledge about the long-term prognosis for many conditions, and it is difficult, if not impossible, for clinicians to make accurate predictions about the future for an individual patient. The evolution of an individual's mental disorder cannot be predicted as it can for certain types of cancers," end of quote. That report was issued in May of 2022. Has anything changed since May of 2022 with respect to that conclusion?
But specifically, I really like what NDP leader Avi Lewis had to say about it. He said, "People in mental health crises should be getting the supports that they need. If people are choosing MAiD, choosing to die because they can't get the supports they need in life, something is broken in our system." And his criticism was of the line that instead of funding a program to essentially kill people, instead there should be more funding for supports to help them live their lives. There should be more supports, more funding into supports for the mentally ill, instead of funding a program or expanding a program to just kill them off. Both parties right now are discussing the matter in their own caucuses, and I think we'll only continue to see this become more of an issue in the next coming months until March of next year. But like I said, this program isn't just facing opposition from the political parties in House of Commons, it's also facing opposition from a lot of faith groups. In fact, I think the majority of faith groups, specifically Christian ones, the ones I know of, have voiced very strong opposition to this. Obviously citing that all life has innate value, and once again saying that instead of taking life from people, we should be instead trying to give support whatever they need to help live their lives better. And it's also facing opposition from certain nonprofits for the disabled, that support the disabled. To me, at least, the issue seems very obvious. Life is good, death is bad. We should be trying to help people live life instead of taking it from them. I don't know. I honestly, I really try to see the other side of the coin, like on everything, but like at least just see where other people are coming from. But personally, I really just don't understand what the other side of this is. I just want to, I understand there's nuance. I understand that there are cases where, maybe this is valid. Maybe people do, I don't know, where this could be valid, like in those first, terminally ill cases. But even then, you're giving up on yourself. As long as you are alive, there's hope that you can get better. There's hope that you can turn things around. As long as you're alive, there's still things to do. There's still people to help and to serve and in whatever way you can. And I don't know. As a government and as a country, we shouldn't be taking that opportunity away from people. But that's my view. Moving on to our second story of the day, though, in somewhat similar fashion, also about a bill that the Liberals are trying to pass. The second and final story of today is that the Liberal government continues to push a bill that would allow them access to all of your information through the companies that own your devices. Public Safety Minister Gary Anandasangari, he and the Liberal caucus continue to say that it respects privacy and that it respects the Charter. But this bill also continues to face major backlash from the public. Its predecessor, Bill C2, didn't even see a committee hearing because of how much backlash it faced. It was basically killed instantly. essentially what it would look like if this bill was put into law is that it would allow the government to use a sort of backdoor, they're calling it, to give access to law enforcement your information through the companies that own your devices, basically. And not just that, it would force companies to keep your information for the last 365 days. All of everything you've done the last 365 days, people you've texted, things you've looked up, messages you've sent, messages you've received, all of that could be given to law enforcement. And the scariest part, in my opinion, of all that is that the bill says that they wouldn't need evidence of a crime to be able to get that information. But the scariest part is actually less the government and more hackers, because in the US, they had a similar backdoor system in 2024 that might still be in place, where for telecommunication, and a Chinese hacker group in 2024 breached a very large data network. They called it the Salt Typhoon hack of 2024. I think it was summer of 2024, where they used that same backdoor to access people's information and do whatever they wanted with it. But here's how passing a bill works in Canada in very layman's terms, just so that we're all on the same page. It has to go in a very simple way. It goes through the House of Commons and the Senate a couple times. They might go back and forth. They have committee hearings committee meetings to discuss these bills, to debate these bills, and then they each get voted on. Because we have a Liberal majority right now, at least in the House of Commons and in the committee, chances are these bills would pass through very fast. Now, the reason why I exclude the Senate is because although we also have a Liberal majority in the Senate, the senators are actually a little bit less partisan typically than let's say Liberal MPs on committee or in the House. And there have been times in Trudeau's government, as well as other governments, but let's just use Trudeau as a reference because he tried to pass a lot of very dirty bills, where Liberal senators actually opposed the bills and voted against the bills, or they would leave the bills just kind of to the side and not want to talk about them or debate them, as also, I guess, a form of protest. And so the Senate is one way where the bill can be stopped. The second is in the Supreme Court. I don't see Bill C-22 flying with the Supreme Court, if I'm being honest. The Liberals might try to get it past it. They might take it to court. They've taken many things to court. They're in court right now for the BC land thing. They've taken many things to court. It'd probably be something similar. I don't see the Supreme Court ruling in favor of such a bill, even though that there are Liberal judges on there. I don't see how anyone in their right mind could justify this, but you never know. As always, I'm going to keep you guys informed, and this is a little bit of a heavier video. I understand that, so I want to end on a positive note. Guys, keep the hope, okay? The upside is that God has his hand on this nation, and he has a plan for Canada. He's not done with Canada. The way the establishment wins with their agenda is if people stop caring. So look, this channel is a safe space for everybody. I know I'm not just speaking to conservatives right now, but whatever you care about, if you at all oppose these kinds of bills, write to your MPs, write to your senators. Each province has a certain amount of senators. I think in New Brunswick, where I live, it's like 10. And I think in Ontario, it's like 20 something. I could be wrong, but you can write to any one of them. So it's not like an MP where everyone only has one MP. You can write to any senator in your province, as far as I'm aware. And public pressure is real. Public pressure, it has an impact. So I would say, if at all, you don't like what you're hearing, you don't like what you're seeing, keep fighting. Keep the hope alive. It's important. Hope is it is morale, probably the most important thing in any group effort, any team effort. And Lord knows that Canada, any country, but Canada in this case, is a team effort, and we all have to be on the same team. Once again, God has his hand over this nation, and we're all going to be okay. Canada, he's not done with Canada yet. It's all going to be okay. But we have to keep the hope alive. Well, that's our duty. We can't just assume God's going to do everything. No, we have to do our part, and our part is keeping the hope alive and keeping the fight up for things that we care about as people of Canada. That's all I'm going to say. God bless you guys. Have a great day. I'll keep you guys as informed as possible. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right. Have a great day.